everyone, and welcome to another video. This has been sort of a highly requested video, and I got permission from Tracy of Self-Care Journalist to actually film this video because it's of her spread. But as far as I know, she doesn't have a YouTube channel, but all of her spreads are amazing. They are all for self-care and help with a lot of mental health stuff, and that's a lot of the reason why I decided to use her self-care tracker.
I've used it for the last couple months.
I've used it for the last couple months,
but
honestly.
I never really perfected it
but
until
I
I
never
think the
really
last
perfected
2
it
months.
until August and September. And I tried it in a couple different formats. I tried it in like a smaller sort of format, and I tried it in more stretched out like hers originally is, and I think I finally found one that works for me. I was trying to do it up by myself, like not have it be exactly like hers and make it my own. Trying to like shrink it down or make it smaller or something. I don't really so I kept trying to like shrink it down or make it smaller
but I ended up just making it look just like hers.
What exactly
in the
I was
end.
doing.
So you'll see what I mean.
But yeah, totally go check her out on Instagram. She has amazing spreads. They all work amazingly. Highly recommend you check her out. She's amazing, and she's just a super sweet person. So, I guess I'll just go to the one I tried in August. So, this one was when I was trying to sort of make my own style, I guess. I was trying to have it be like hers, but not set up exactly, because I didn't want to full-on copy it, because my entire life I've been told don't copy others because I'm an artist. So I was really trying not to do it just like hers, even though that's what I ended up doing next month anyway. But I had the tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. Pretty much how this works is you have your signifiers, you have like your color code. I have mood, motivation, activity, calmness, and mental health, I guess. So yeah, red is mood, purple's motivation, green is activity, blue is calmness, and orange is mental health. And each tier is like a different level for each color. So, for example, tier 1 is sad and mad for mood, none for no motivation, lazy day for activity, stressed is my level of calmness, and WTF is my mental health. And I actually had a lot of comments saying that they liked that description, so thank you. But pretty much from, grab my ruler here, so pretty much from here down is my tier 1. So this is like the one you don't really want to go down into. You want to try and be above this, pretty much. And this graph is a little bit different in my opinion, because a lot of the times we see graphs as, oh, up here is really good and down here is really bad. But really, in this one, as long as you're above 4, you're doing pretty dang good for yourself. And just because I went from way up here to way down here, that doesn't mean I had a bad day. That just means I had a really, really good day, and then the next day was an average day. Like a normal, everyday, nothing special happening, day-to-day work day. And it took me a long time to kind of figure that out, because, like I said, as humans, we usually see, 10 is good, 1 is bad. And that obviously still works here, but it works a little bit differently, because even though you're right at the middle at 5 and 6, that's not necessarily bad. That just means that you had a good, decent day, average day. So yeah, tier 1 is sort of like the bad day scenario. Tier 2, I have content, normal, average, controlled, and alive for my tier 2. And let's see if I can... It's not long enough. Okay, so that's this area. So as you can see, I was pretty much in the ballpark most of the month. August was a little bit of a weird month for me. So I did dip down a little bit below the tier 1 line, but everyone has good days and bad days, and that's pretty much what this whole tracker is meant to show. It's meant to show kind of patterns. Like, if I actually noticed after doing it for several months that around the 15th and 16th, I almost always have a dip day. It's just that mid-month crisis, I guess. So it was just cool that I could be able to see that. And then, like, obviously certain things happen in my life at certain times of the month. So that affects what this graph looks like. And it's just kind of cool to see evidence of that around the 15th and 16th. Like, my body's just kind of like, okay, I did good. Now I'm, like, tired. And then I do good for the most part the rest of the month. So yeah, middle tier is pretty much average, everyday kind of day. And then for tier 3, I have joyful, hyper, busy bee, peaceful, and loving life. So this is like the best day you could possibly have is from here up. And I think I still did pretty good in August too, where I had a lot of good days. And again, with the 10 versus 1 scenario, it looks a little bit weird that I would have a really good day and then a really bad day. Or like I would have it super high up here and super low down here the next day. That does look a little bit weird, but honestly, if you have a really good day, you most likely crash the next day. I mean, you don't go partying on a Friday night and then feel the same on Saturday morning, you know? Not that I would know. I don't drink very often, so, you know, whatever. But yeah, that's just kind of like how you're supposed to see this graph, I guess. And I chose these colors just because I can see it better. I originally was doing the Boho Berry self-care tracker, and I liked it, but I just felt like I wasn't seeing very many correlations in my life. And I kept it pretty small like this, and I only used the 4 colors. I used the red, my dark blue Stabilo, the light green, and the orange, and I found that I could really see those colors really well. And then I ended up like trying to stay with the blue, trying to stay with the other colors, and just wasn't working. So I added the purple, which is a darker color than the rest, and I like that I can see that kind of better than the rest of them. I mean, obviously I can see all the colors, but that's just what works for me. That's how my eyes see it better. So you can obviously use any colors that you want. I believe, if I remember right, Tracy uses like different colors depending on her month, I think. I know she uses a lot of pink and purple in hers, which works for her, and that's great, but I like color. I like rainbows. So I pretty much just use these Stabilos for mine. I use the .88 Stabilo pens, fine 0.4, it says next to it. They're the ones with like the orange barrel and the colored tips. But I have colors 54, 40, 43, 13, and 55. So those are the ones I personally use. You could honestly use any pens, any colors that you want that work for you. But this was how I set it up in August for the first month of this bullet journal. And honestly, I really like how it looks better in September. So this is how Tracy normally sets it up. She normally sets it up with like this box, and it's super stretched out, and that's what I tried doing honestly in August, because before I originally had like only 5 through 10 because I realized I'd never really dipped below 4, but then I kind of looked at how I was supposed to use the graph again, and I realized I kind of needed the 4 and under. So, because I felt like I wasn't grading myself fairly otherwise. So again, I have my mood, motivation, activity, calmness, and mental. These are pretty much pretty similar sort of things to track that she uses on hers, and this is the exact setup that she has. Before I was going in between the dots, and on this one I'm actually using the dots as my scale, so everything is really, it's a lot better laid out because it's all even from each other, so it's easier to actually see. And over here you can see I have my 3 tiers. I have my tier 1, which is the sad and mad, none, lazy day, stressed, and WTF. My middle tier 2, that has my content, normal, average, controlled, and alive, pretty much my average day. And then I have my top tier, my tier 3, which is my joyful, productive, busy bee, peaceful, and loving life. So as we can see, I've had a pretty good, September so far. So if we look at it this way, okay, this is going to be kind of janky, but as you can see, I've only had 5 dip downs in September compared to August. So I'm having a pretty good September so far. If we go down to my middle tier, I've had a lot of average days, but I've also had a lot of really good days. And something must have changed because 15th and 16th is right here, and I had a really good day. So that shows me that something I'm doing must have changed between August and September. And that means that I should probably figure that out, because I did not like having that mid-month slump every single month. And it was like I knew it was coming, so it made it even worse. But this month, something changed. I'm not really sure what. I'm not sure if it's what I ate, or if, well, I was getting a lot more sleep this week. So that's probably what it was. But yeah, it pretty much works the same way. It's just a more stretched out version. So as we saw in the August one, it's pretty squished. It's a little bit hard to see where everything is, but not really. It's not contained. It's just kind of free floating. And then in this one, it actually feels like a sort of bar line graph, whatever you want to call it. And it actually looks a lot more consistent and a lot more organized than my other one did, because in this one, like I said, I was going in between the dots on my dot grid, where this one, I'm going straight on the dots. So they're all a lot more spaced out, evenly spaced out, so that makes it easier for me to see, rather than putting two dots squished right next to each other and trying to figure out which one's on top of the other. I don't usually do it because it's very rare that I have two dots land on the same level for me. But I know Tracy, for hers, she would, if I had my calmness was the same level as my mood that day, I would probably do the red, and then whenever I got to calmness, I usually go down the line whenever I put these in. So I usually do my red first, and then my purple, and then my green, and then my blue, and then my orange. Just because that's the order of which they come in over here. But she would put the red, and then if another color landed on the same dot, she would do a ring of that color around it to show that they were both there, rather than doing them both on the same dot and having it mix into a really weird color or just bleed through your paper, because I didn't realize that these kind of bleed through a little bit whenever you do dots. So I guess I could show you guys. I don't know if it'll show up, but I can see a lot of my dots bled through on these for some reason. I don't remember them ever doing that. I don't feel like I'm pushing down harder than I was, so. But yeah, I guess, the main thing, if you want to try this from Self-Care Journalist, the main thing to remember is just that if you go from here to here, that's not necessarily bad. That just means you had a really good day, and then you went to having a normal day. And it took me almost 6 months to realize this, because I'd always feel really bad whenever I saw that I was, on top of the world and then way down here. It just feels bad to see that go down that far and that steep. And that's just, what we've always been taught most of the time, is that, if you see something go down, that means something bad happened. Whereas this just means that you had a really good day and then you went to a really average day. Now, if you see something like this, like this green line here, I don't know if you guys can see that. This green line went down pretty steep over 2 days, and that's not necessarily bad either. That's just my activity. So that pretty much means I had a really busy bee day, and then I had an average day, and then I had a lazy day. So and again, that's all that means. It's not like I'm dying. It's not like, I had a horrible day. It just means that I was busy, I was normal, and then I had a lazy day to make up for it. That's pretty much all that means. And again, it's kind of cool to see, which colors correlate with each other. So for me, it was really cool that I could see that my mood and my motivation pretty much go on par with each other all through the month. So you can see this one went up, my motivation went up, 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 up. Like, it's just really cool to see how that works. And obviously with this, you would have to grade yourself fairly. And I think that's why this works so well, because there's so many different ways that you can see it. So for example, with my activity, right, I have busy bee, average, and lazy day. So I know what my average is, and I know when I'm being a busy bee. My average is like, I wake up, I go to work, all I do is sit at work, and I come home, I usually sit at my desk and I get stuff done. So that's pretty much my average. So that's like if I were just to sit all day, but I was doing things, you know, being productive, doing work, that kind of stuff. Busy bee for me would be like if I went out and did things, or if I was productive for going out, or if I was running everywhere, or usually at my job, I work at the service department in a dealership. So that's a lot more movement job. There's a lot more movement in that job than my receptionist job. So every other week, I notice these bubbles go up and then down and then up and then down. You can see it right here. There's a V right here. And that's because that was a week of reception where I was just doing my normal thing, just sitting at work, answering phones. And then last week, I was running around everywhere because I was in service and I was having to run around, run tickets, take people's money, that kind of stuff. So yeah, that would be my one big thing, is just to, if you see a dip, you know, don't worry about it. Don't even think about it until the end of the month. At the end of every month, I usually go back and look at it and try and see patterns. Again, that's how I noticed that around the 15th, 16th, I usually have a dip, but it looks like my dip came a little bit earlier this month, or I ended up improving it, and I ended up having a really good month, and I think it's because I slept a lot in this last week. I don't know. But yeah, I'm thinking about doing this plus a section on the page next to it where I can write my observations at the end of the month. I don't really think I would need a full page for it, but I do think it would be a good idea, especially if you're just starting out, just to jot down a collection where you can write like September or October, I guess will be the next month, October 2017, and then write all the observations you see. Like if you see that there's a dip around the 13th, 14th, or there's a dip between the 8th and 9th, you can write that down and see if it reoccurs in the next following months. That way you can sort of keep that in the back of your mind, like, okay, what's going on during that time of the month? What's going on? You know, that kind of thing. And it's just cool to see your life change. It's cool to see how your body and how your life kind of changes. And obviously you can probably add more sections to this if you wanted to. You could add diet, sleep, you know, anything else you want. I used to track my mood, my sleep, my activity, and my mental. That's all I would track. And now I have motivation and calmness because I realized I was being really stressed all the time. And that wasn't good for me and not good for my mental health or anything. So I hope this was informative. I hope this helped anybody who requested this video understand this tracker a little bit more. If you want to read it from the source, I will have a link down below to Tracy, self-care journalist's Instagram. All of her posts are just amazing. They're helpful. I recommend reading any of them. She has her version of her self-care tracker on there, so you can see it from there. I changed my wording over here to how it meant to me, so obviously I don't really think for mental Tracy had WTF. I really don't think so. I just did that because to me that's how I feel if I'm rock bottom, you know, and whenever it's an average day, I feel alive, and whenever I have a good day, I'm loving life, you know? That's just how it means to me. So you can word any of this however you want. And again, that's the beauty of bullet journaling. You can change it and tweak it to things that work for you. And that's amazing to me. So if you enjoyed, please let me know. If you want to see any more in-depth videos of certain spreads, please comment down below. Or if you just have any videos in general you would like to see from me, please comment down below. I love seeing you guys' ideas, and sometimes I just run into a little bit of a rut with YouTube where I feel like I've shared everything, and I feel like if I keep doing plan with me's, it's just kind of the same because my months don't really change very much anymore. So if you have any ideas for videos, let me know. If you like this video, click the thumbs up button. It helps me with search results, and it helps me know which videos you guys like better. Subscribe for more videos. Hit the little bell next to it if you want to get notifications for whenever I upload. I don't really have a set schedule. I don't want to promise every week just because I'm not sure I can. I know sometimes I can't upload every Friday, but Friday is usually the day I usually try and upload, so mark that on your calendars in your bullet journal if you want to, check in on Fridays to see if I've uploaded anything new. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!